What's up, everybody? How you doing? Welcome back to another episode. This is pretty cool because we're gonna do an after dark episode. Everybody, we're in the beginning of the never ending podcast, the B&E podcast, and I'm really excited to bring back a guest we've had on our, I guess our AM show, which I guess we have done some adjustments now. All of our shows are gonna be at the 7 p.m., so it's much easier for people to catch us. But we could bring on the woman, the myth, the legend, Miss Jaz Tabong. And we're really excited to jump into a story of Miss Lola Vid, which is a Tia of I guess the family, and it's pretty cool because she brought up a lot of her throughout the story. So we're excited to jump into it. But yeah, without further ado, hello, Miss Tabong.
Hello,
How are
I'm
you
glad
doing?
to be back. Thank you
Back
for
at it
having me
again
back.
with the white vans now. We're like seasoned veterans, I think, at this point, right? So look, the big thing that I'm really curious about, because what I've heard is that there's a big story that happens with her, and obviously I don't want to have to be super structured here, but I think my goal is specifically is to kind of understand what the specific role she plays, because she's kind of not like a from what I've heard, right, she's not like a midwife, right, she's not like she sacrifices herself in some way, shape, or form to support others, right, in a very specific way, which is essentially to raise children. Am I wrong about this, or almost there?
She's always there whenever she's needed.
Yeah, so and that's the case, but there's a word you used to describe her in general. What is the
So
title? I don't know if you remember that.
she's our Tia Vid. It
Okay.
stands for aunt.
Okay.
That's how we call our aunts in the Philippines, Tia. And she's Lola Vid to our kids. So to us, she's our second mom. To them, she's the second grandma.
Okay.
So she's like, so every time there's a celebration of Mother's Day, she would always be having her own greetings
Yeah.
on Facebook and everything, and she's like our mom. Yeah.
And I know that but I remember you mentioning a term that you would describe her as if like she is gosh, I wish I remember what the way you described it.
Selfless.
Is it, you said a seamstress, not that. What is it?
Oh, a spinster.
A spinster. So this what is so describe her journey of becoming a spinster. What is that? How does that process from where, I don't know if you remember too much about her life.
A spinster is defined as a female who decides to be celibate during her entire life, not getting married, not getting involved to any man or the opposite sex. So since she was younger, so my mom had a lot of siblings. She's the fourth from the youngest, but she's very responsible. So when my grandpa passed away, she was playing a role of, because when my grandpa passed away, my youngest uncle was still in grade school, and um, everyone else are still in school and everything else. So she would always be there to help out in the chores and everything. And then when she finished her bachelor's and went to the city to work, she would always share what she has to everyone else, not just materially, but a piece of herself.
Hmm.
I mentioned before that when one of the siblings would need her to help out, like take care of the children because no one would, she would always be there for them. And she even raised one of my cousins, the son of one of her brothers, because the dad was working and he was like a single dad.
Hmm.
So he basically became the mom of my cousin. My cousin spoke during her memorial, and
Whoa.
that was the only thing I learned about it. That she would literally bring my cousin to work and put him in one of the conference rooms with toys and stuff while she's working, just so she would be able to take care of him while she's also doing her job.
Wow.
Yeah. And
And
then
this, you mentioned this, it starts really young for her. right? Like,
Yeah.
so you mentioned that, like, she's even taking care of, you mentioned your uncle, right? The youngest uncle. And how
Yeah.
old was she at this time?
Uh,
Because she's a little older, I
so
imagine, right?
the gap is just like, I think, 5 years or 6 years.
And if he's in grade school,
He
then,
would be
like,
in high school. She would be in high school.
wow,
So yeah,
that's wild.
yeah. It's just because my grandma happens to be coming from a family that is well off,
Right.
so she's not so used with chores and stuff.
Sure.
So when they lost the comfortable the when they got out of the comfort zone where all the nannies are present, and suddenly it's gone because there's no more means
Yeah.
to support it. So my grandma would not be able to step up and do all those stuff, and the children had to step up. My mom did that, and then
Right.
my aunt. So my mom was already married that time to my dad, so it's just like a part-time thing. But my aunt was still there full time, so she would worry about everything.
What's crazy is that you also mentioned she goes from, um, right, high school, taking care of family members, right, to going into college, right? So
Yeah.
she's getting her bachelor's.
So
Right.
when she's in school, when she gets home, she does the chores and everything else. So that's how selfless she is. She never thought about her own welfare. She never thought about herself. She would always think about others.
Hmm.
She would always think about the siblings. She would always think about us, the nieces and nephews. She would always think about the grandchildren.
Why she
Yeah.
do that? Why so selfless?
That's just how she is. I think it's
She
I
never gave
think
like
it's her
a described it like,
I think it's her
oh, real
she's
quick.
designed for it.
Hey, can you pan it to me? Can you pan it to me real quick? And then Sarah, can you help her with her headset real quick?
Oh,
Yeah, one of the things I noticed, specifically, right, when I was going through this process here, I really wanted to make sure that I get to understand her story more,
yeah.
because I think it's just not, it's for some people like that, right? There's no there's only a few people in your life who are that giving. And if she starts off like probably well before high school, but like, at high school already having the signs of like, hey, how can I help? How can I be of
Yeah.
service to people, right? She goes into her bachelor's degree when you're supposed to be focusing on you, right? Because this is a moment you're trying to educate, you're trying to go through this process, right? And you're already still trying to continue focusing on what can I do to get better? What can I do to grow? Or excuse me, how can I help serve? And how can I give back to people? I'm so curious on where is that, like what is the meaning behind that? Like why so selfless? Did she ever describe like why she cared so much about serving others or in that way?
She never mentioned anything about it, but it's like so innate with her.
Hmm.
It's a natural thing. When she was created, that's how she was designed to be.
Hmm.
So effortless. Automatically, she's just like that. So we would tease her to have like a boyfriend or whatever when she was younger, and she would be irritated. just she's just she's just not into it.
Hmm.
She would be happy looking at the nieces and nephews, taking care of them, rather than going out with on a date or whatever. she would just focus on domestic affairs.
Wow.
Yeah, she's and then when she had the break to be sent overseas, she was an expatriate in overseas to manage a garment factory. She would still be sending stuff to all of us like, and then when she comes home, it's like everyone's excited because we always long to be with her because her company is just sunshine to all of us.
Hmm.
So she's always the life of the party. And I just can't explain why when it's about her, we always feel giddy about it. Like, oh, she's coming. Lola Vid is coming. Tia Vid is coming. We're so excited. And when she's leaving, we just feel so bad that she would be leaving.
Right.
That's why when she passed,
Hmm.
up to now, I still can't take it. I've been crying. If you notice my eyes, it's
Sure.
always sore because I'm always crying. Every time I would pray, she's the next one that I would pray about during bedtime. She's next to my mom.
Hmm.
When I mentioned her, I just realized she's gone. So I would no longer be praying about her well-being, her good health. I just pray that she would rest in peace in
Hmm.
God's arms, stuff. And then I start crying because her presence is really very, very vital to all
Hmm.
of us.
And it seems like one of the things I wanted to ask was you, the impact that she has probably on your uncles. You know, even him like speaking at her memorial. What was the impact that happened for you? What was kind of the big thing that why she was so important in your life?
I mentioned during our first interview that she gave up her overseas career to take care of my children.
Whoa.
So she joined us. So she lived with us, and she would literally take care of my children. Even if there would be nannies, she would be there to like
Supervise the manners.
oversee, oversee,
Love it.
and make sure everything is falling into place. And when I come home, I do nothing. I just eat dinner, everything's set, and she would always be there. Like I can open the gate myself. She would open the gate for me. She's just she's just I don't know. She's so sweet in her own little way.
Hmm.
And during her memorial, we just realized how many lives she touched.
Hmm.
Not just us, but a lot of people who we don't even know. So there were a lot of people coming in during the memorial evenings and would talk about her,
Hmm.
how good she is, how selfless, how they have touched their lives. And we are awed to know how she touched lives in her own little way.
Well, it's one of the things I was curious about was you one okay, so she the people in her life that she's most connected to are the people that it's like family, right?
Mm-hmm.
She's very it seems very family oriented.
Mm-hmm.
When hearing your story and Julia's as well, I've noticed that like from where you're part of town and just your family in general, it's very family oriented. But it seems like what Miss Vid, what she did is she essentially took it to a whole different level, right? She became extremely selfless, and she felt like now her job was her family, which I find is interesting because she does go to school, so like,
Yes.
and she did have a career. You know, she goes and you mentioned you said expatriate. What does exactly that mean?
Expatriate is
Expatriate.
like you're a management
Mm,
person being sent to a different place
got it. Okay.
overseas to run a company or to run a team.
And so she's not like, she still takes care of the responsibilities. She goes to school. She does what she needs to do. She goes to work. She does what she needs to do. But most people in their free time, they're like, great,
I
now let's
know.
party. Now let's go do
Right.
this. Let's have fun.
Right.
Let's have, But
Yeah.
she's like her having fun. It's just, all right, how can I help? Like, is
Yeah.
that so? That's not found. You just worked all day.
Right. I'll
right?
paint you a picture of how she is.
Yes, please.
After work, she comes home, drops her bag. In her clothes from work, she would start cleaning. She would start tidying up the sink and everything else. And if there's food to cook, she would start doing it. And then she would stop late at night. That's the only time she would have to take a shower and get some rest. That's how she is. S- She's hyperactive. And I think I got that from her too, because sometimes I'm also like that.
He's like, look, on the go. We got moves to make, right?
Yeah, like never tired. That's why it's so shocking when she passed, because she just she just went on a leisure trip with my mom and my sister in the province, and she was actually playing with that gym in the park. The like you step on it and it would be
Yeah,
like
seesaw, yeah.
she's so active. You would never sense anything wrong with her, and then suddenly it happened.
Mm.
So she's she would be wherever she's needed. She took care of my aunt, my grandma. I mean, she took care of my grandma on her final years, because my grandma passed at 99 years and 8 months. So she took care of her. She's taking
99
care
years.
of my mom right now. She's taking care of my mom, who is her older sister, because my mom can barely move because of her osteoarthritis. She's fine, but she just can't walk
Sure.
around. So she would 9 a.m. she would call my mom to have breakfast. So when that day happened, my mom was surprised that no one's calling her for breakfast. And then she saw my aunt laying by the living room, and she's like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Do I have to be sick to lay down?" She was kidding, but she was already sick.
One of the things interesting. Sorry, I don't know. One of the things I find is
Mm-hmm.
you talk about how she was at a garment industry,
Mm-hmm.
and she would like send you guys clothes like
Yeah,
gifts.
yeah.
So obviously giving her time,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems like she's also giving her resources and money as well.
Oh, yes. She never saved up for her own retirement. That's why me and my siblings decided to take care of her when she gets old and when she retires, because she never saved up anything for herself. She never had anything saved up, no assets, no investments, nothing, everything all out for us. So I'm like,
She like invested in you.
yeah, so, and she's never expecting anything.
Yeah, where's that? Like,
Yeah.
where's um the ounce of I guess it seems selfishness. Was she like? There has to be like a favorite ice cream. She's like, I need this ice cream. Like, I imagine she
Yeah.
has to have some. She probably has to have some sense of humor as well. I imagine or something.
Oh, she's the life of the party because she would always roast all of us. So I was actually looking forward to her roasting ban when we get to the Philippines in December, because she would never run out of things to say
Right.
to roast you, and then everyone would start laughing. And it's so happy. It's a happy place when she's
Right.
around. So it's so different now that she's gone. That's why every time I think about it, I just find myself crying.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean,
Because I cannot imagine life without Tia. It's so different. So different.
it's close to home.
It is.
Um, w- uh, she goes and you mentioned that she becomes a spinster. Now, is that like a did she just like find out about this, or she just naturally was just this person? I don't know if there's like
A spinster is a decision.
Okay.
It's like becoming a nun.
okay, that's my question. So nuns, obviously, you go to Catholic Church to become
Right,
that,
right.
right? There's a whole process and
Right.
procedure. But for her, it doesn't seem like that. It seems like she's just this is who I am and this is
Yeah.
how I'm gonna live.
She just decided to be alone and take care of, because she felt like, to me, as I'm analyzing it,
Sure.
she felt like if she would settle down with a man, she would not be able to take care of her siblings and all of us,
She prioritized.
because there would be other priorities.
So she decided that what the relationship I rather have
Yeah.
is with my family than with a lover with
Right. She's extreme. My priority is my family, my kids, and my husband and
course.
stuff. She has her priority. The priority is the clan. Her
Wow.
priority is the clan. So there's no need for her to find a man to grow old with, because she's happy with all of us.
with
Yeah.
life as it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Does she have any brothers and sisters that any way similar to her?
So, like I said, she's the fourth from the youngest.
Right.
She's close to all of the
Of
siblings.
course. Sure. Yeah. I
So
imagine.
there's this other sibling, that her sister, a younger sister next to her. She would take care of her, not just physically, but also help out financially if she would need. She's always there, literally. So when you need help, she's just there, and all out. Not no holding back. Like sometimes she would like, oh, I'll keep this because I would need this sometime.
Sure. I gotta pay rent or
But
something.
she's not.
She's
She
just
would-
like
yeah. So when I was in the city, when I was in my college years, when I wear stilettos instead of the chunky high heels,
sure.
because I love my posture in stilettos. So I went to exclusive for girls school. So of course my shoes would always be worn out, because in the Philippines you would walk from school to the ride. It's like a mile walk
In stilettos.
in stilettos.
Girl.
That's why I have nice legs.
Woo! Get it. Built differently.
Just
They
kidding.
don't pick them like they used to.
So I wear stilettos, so it would be worn out. And my mom and my dad is so far from me because they're in the suburbs and I'm in the city. So she's my mom in the city, and I would call her. My shoes are worn, and she would just tell me, "Okay, meet me after work, and I'll buy you a new one." That's instant. That's how she is.
She just got you like that.
Yeah, it's just like that. For not just to me, to everyone who would need.
So you mentioned that she took care of your daughters. Kind of to describe that the her in that position and the relationship you had then, because she was living with you at one point.
Yeah.
You seen her every day. How long was this that stint? Do you know?
Until she was, I think, 8. Yeah, until she was 8.
8 years.
Yes, 8 years old.
Um, and was it ever at all awkward? Was it ever at all feeling like
No,
it was just like this. Wow. Okay. Yeah. Can you describe that?
it's never awkward because it's just like she's part of us. She's like our mom
Mm.
who would scold us when we're messy
Right. Sure.
because
Absolutely.
she wants everything organized. The floor, you can literally lay down on the floor because it's so clean, and everything else is just orderly. So what my kids learned from her is the being systematic.
Wait. So if she's now living with you, that means she says she still goes to work too, or
No,
Okay. Okay.
she left because
She
she
gave up her job. You said this, yeah.
yeah. So when she left our place, she went to the other sibling who needs help too. So she moved to another brother, and then to because they would need her to watch the house. Or
That's wild.
I know she would be all over the place,
That's
and
wild.
Not just within the family. She has a best friend, and the dad and the mom. The mom had cancer,
Uh,
and the dad just passed away. So she had to move to that province to take care of the mom because her best friend is also like her, an expatriate in a different country. And no one would take care of the mom. So she moved there for a while until the mom passed away.
uh,
She's just like volunteering herself to be
Yeah.
available for everyone.
so some people don't even have to ask. She's like, yeah, I'll do it. Like, that's wow.
Yeah.
So I guess you imagine. Okay, so you're married, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she now living with. How was it that dynamic? I imagine your husband was like extremely grateful. Like, thank you. You said sometimes you would come back home, food's cooked, place is clean.
Every day. Every day. And she even spends her own money.
She must
sometimes.
complain. No like not a single like. Obviously a little like, okay, hey, don't make a mess
Oh no,
here.
she is feisty.
Of course, I mean, yeah,
She is not a sweet
yeah. She's talking
sweet
smack.
female.
She roasting people.
She would always be like feisty. So you would never hear her sweet. It's always like what? That's her. That's her. That's her language of love. So her language of love is service. Remember I told you. And
Acts
she
of
would be
service.
happy serving everyone and giving. She would give not just material things, but a part of herself. So she did that. So when she left my place, she's been to several other siblings until she went home to take care of my grandma, and now she's taking care of my mom. That's basically her life. I'm like, how about your life? You don't even think about satisfying your own,
Sure.
your own delights and everything else. It's always about giving. So I'm confident that she's in God's hands right now because she deserves it. Totally. Yeah.
How old was she before she passed?
She's 72.
72 years of
Too young.
service.
Too young. Too young to pass away.
72 years, yeah.
And she's so excited to have us in December. Her birthday is December 14. So we are planning to go home in December and probably surprise her for her birthday. But she would no longer be there.
Right.
Yeah.
I imagine it must be hard. I mean, after she was with you guys, and you moved to the States, obviously we have modern technology. So is she able to like FaceTime? Were you guys able to message each other?
Yeah, we message each other, but FaceTime is once in a blue moon
Right,
because
right.
these older people are not so techy,
That's
and
what I was
if you
thinking.
call them, they don't hear it because the phone is somewhere. It's in the drawer or wherever.
Right.
So I only get to talk to her when my sister calls, and I would ask for Tia, where's Tia? And then she would call Tia, and then we would joke with each other and talk about stuff. She's always roasting. I told you, she's always funny. There's no serious conversation when we're talking. I'm always laughing. I'm laughing my heart out whenever I'm talking to her. That's why now there's no more
Sure.
no more Tia to. So when I call my mom recently, I'm like, "Where's Tia?" She's no longer there. Because when we're FaceTiming, we even take a shot of all of us on the screen. Now she's no longer there, and she loves succulents and
Mm.
other plants.
I noticed when you chose, you said green was a big thing you wanted to put on
Yes.
your background
So
today.
when she moved to the place where she's taking care of my mom,
Mm.
the ancestral home, she filled the front yard with plants.
She
and
gardened the
everything.
front yard.
So I told my sister to preserve everything because it would be her legacy.
Mm.
Her legacy is us, actually. But just to have something tangible, it would be the plants.
No, yeah, it would be.
Yeah, it would be the plants. She's always taking care of those plants and posting them on Facebook.
And do you feel like sometimes when you like one of the things I find is super special when it comes to families is you mentioned the legacy that they leave behind, right? She's not married, she doesn't have any children,
Yeah.
but she has a lot of children. Like in a way,
Yes.
right? Like she took care of a lot of people, right? And has given people a piece of herself, right?
Right.
I know one of the biggest things you mentioned was service was one thing you really got for her as well. The feistiness, you
Yes.
said you gained that a lot too.
Yes.
But also, it seems like one of the things is that she works really hard, right? Like she
Yeah,
seems like an
she's a hard
extremely hard worker.
Mm-hmm.
And is that like from I mentioned you said your grandfather was a police officer or some city
No.
council. Oh, sorry,
My,
sorry.
my grandfather even ran for mayor.
Mayor. Okay, my apologies. Okay.
My dad was the officer.
Okay, my
Yeah.
apologies. And so my question is that like, do you kind of feel like the work ethic side of your family, kind of was kind of from her in a way? Because it seems as if you mentioned that her grandfather passed away when his uncle was in grade school, so he didn't get to really leave that kind of like that legacy, right? And so I'm curious on like the hard work of just like, hey, let's get it. She's going to school, working hard, being an expatriate, sending garments back, working with your family, and obviously life of the party. But you said she would go to sleep late. She would
Yeah.
spend time at the end of the day. Yeah, what do you think? How do you feel like that the hard work kind of transferred over to you? Because it feels like you guys
Yeah.
don't want to like almost let her down in a way. Like, hey, we want to
Right.
continue pushing for
So when we do things the way she wants it, it's like making her proud. When Julia was little and she was like getting all the laundry, because in the Philippines you hang the laundry, and when it's dry you fold them. So she got all the dried laundry and then put them on the table by the living room.
Right.
And then when she came in, Julia, where are the laundry? And Julia said, "Oh, I folded them already and put them in everyone's closet." She felt so proud about it because she was just 2 years old when she did that. So my kids learned how she was. So they're also systematic, they're also hardworking, and they're always giving.
you. What about the kind of like was she the type of person to complain? I know that's such a weird question to ask. Because you mentioned that raising your daughters, that like it seems like they're the type of person like, hey, okay, there's a problem, let's fix it, right? In that way, okay, I saw the dirt, the clothes are dirty, I want to go and clean them. By seeing the Tia, right, taking care of them in that way, were you ever at all feeling like, I wonder how my daughter is gonna feel? Do I feel like Because you mentioned she watched over the nannies to make sure the nannies
Yes.
were doing something.
Yes.
It seems like you guys had a just a, like impenetrable bond of trust,
Yes.
like that would go on for again 8 years. That's a really really long time.
Mhm.
Um, to be really really close to someone like that,
Mhm.
it must have been hard to try to transition from the Philippines over to America. Um, um, how was that kind of the separation departure from that moment to coming out to the
So,
States?
like you mentioned earlier, technology is a big help
Hmm.
because we are still able to reach out and get connected once in a while. But the thought of, of having her back there to meet us when we come for a visit, it's totally different from now that she's totally gone.
Yeah.
You know, it's just so I'm still healing.
Sure. Yeah.
It's really a big cut. Yeah. It's not that it's not a joke to just I lost my papa in 2018 and I really mourned
Sure.
because he's also a big part of me. But Tia is just so significant that she's been always there during the formative years of my kids. That's why she's been so she's really missed.
Sure.
She's really missed. And the value that she instilled to my kids, the value of hard work, the value of being uh, of service to anyone who would need it. She doesn't have to say it, but the kids saw it.
Mm.
So the kids are just like that. Because actions would actually speak louder than words. And the kids, little children would not remember the words, but they would remember
The actions,
the
for
actions.
sure.
They would always mimic it. So when they see someone doing this, they would always do that, even if it's bad. That's why I'm glad that they are looking at good examples when they were growing up. So she's very she's very giving and caring and loving and everything else. So yeah.
Um, um, when you mentioned that you were gonna head back home, um,
Mm-hmm.
and a big part of that was because you were excited to see Tia.
Yes, yes.
Uh, and you wanted to be kind of this kind of surprise, right? Because you wanted to kind of be like, "Yo, hey, what's up? We want to bring back." Um, when you got the news that something might was going wrong, was it super fast? Was it at least did you get a few days to be able to kind of like get to get to really tell her how important she was? Or did you ever get that moment to kind of like,
I've been bugging my sister to let me talk to her on FaceTime, but it's not allowed in the hospital because she was in ICU. That was the biggest frustration I have. I never got to say bye, and I never got to say how much thankful I am for her being there for all of us. And when I learned the news that she had a heart attack, I was so anxious because if you see a person who's been so active who is suddenly in bed, you would really be scared of her not getting to recover because it's like the body would give in. That's my biggest worry, and it happened.
if you had that opportunity, right, to be able to kind of get that message to
Hmm.
her and kind of tell her how you would feel, what would you, yeah, what would you say?
So I would say I really am so thankful for her being part of me, and she's really played a big role in my life, not just in my life, but in my kids' lives. So I just want her to know how much we love her because she has this thing that she's telling everyone that no one loves her.
Hmm.
I think I think that the one of the reasons why she's doing what she's doing is
Hmm.
because she has the need to be needed.
Hmm.
You know, she has to be significant. That's why she's doing this. So I just wanted her to know how much we love her and how much every one of us, not just me and my kids, but the rest of the clan, value her for being her. So yeah, that's one of the frustrations. I was not even able to say I love her
Mm.
for the last time. But every time we would talk, I would always say, "Bye, I love you."
Of course, of
It's
course.
always the closing.
Right.
I love you, but it's different when when you really have to make her feel it. Like when,
And you're
uh,
far away too,
yeah,
right? Yeah. I think one of the things um what you're from what you were kind of explaining, um she family is such a big part to her. Um and I imagine it must be really hard to kind of just have to sit there,
right,
right? And when your family kind of grows up, right? She raises the family, and they now go and live their lives, you know. She kind of, in a way, hopefully,
yes,
kind of feels like, man, she was she left behind in a way.
yes,
But but as you know, right? Like if it wasn't for her, right? A lot of you wouldn't be in anywhere near in the position that you have
that's
today.
true. That's
The
true.
the goals, that life that you have, is really a big factor of the help
Yes,
that you've received from her. And I imagine, as now, right? I think she can definitely see the change and the difference that is made on you and others. And I think she would be really proud of how far you guys have came.
yes,
Because I know, obviously, your story, you explained it, that you guys haven't been here for very long. It's been a couple years,
yes,
like not
yes.
even like two.
7.
Yeah, it's not even, we're not even
Yeah, 7.
a decade yet. And so I imagine that you spending so many years with her and being able to get that real experience is something that's now I think she could have really appreciate. I think that's
Yes.
something that
I really feel
is really
bad that
important.
she's no longer there to see Julia join her pageant because she's the number one fan of my children. So if there's something going on with my kids, she would be the first to be so excited about it. And even with me, whatever I do, she's always backing me up.
Sure.
If I feel bad about someone, she would also feel bad about them. Yeah, she's always supportive. So when I was younger, I'm feisty. So I would always, because I speak my mind.
Sure.
Sometimes they don't understand that I'm just speaking my mind, and they would take it negatively. And then I would tell my aunt about it, and she would like, "What did they do?"
Right.
She's always
Right.
supportive.
Right.
And when I was starting over here, so I told you for quite some time I did some uh, sales job in a
Mm-hmm.
furniture store, and I was like helping customers to design their homes with the right furniture and everything else. And I would tell her the challenges because if you're in the management position in the past and you do something different, it's totally a
It's totally a
challenge.
different world. Yeah.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
So I would tell her, and she would always cheer me up. Yeah, you can do it. You can do better than that. So yeah, she's always like that. She's always backing you up. Whatever happens, she's by your side. She would never trade you for anything else.
I think that's the best. Being around people who kind of give you the I don't know, who enrich you. There's a lot of people who want to tear you down.
Yes.
She definitely feels like the person always trying to make sure people feel like, no, you gotta have a good time. You're around
Right.
me. Of
Right.
course you're
Right.
gonna have a good time.
Right.
Um, so it's really cool how supportive she was, um, even through hard times. And it's even more interesting, essentially, is how supportive she was compared to you even mentioned your father as well.
Mm-hmm.
Him obviously being a big part of your life, but
Mm-hmm.
how big of a difference that she made just in the small, it's small, obviously,
Yeah.
72 years is young, amount of time that she was in yours. Um, I guess one of the big things, well, I guess one of the final things I wrote on here, you did mention that how hyperactive she was, how
Mm.
active she was to do things. You also mentioned that she did travel to
Mm-hmm.
different places as well.
Yes.
Did the travel, do you think, shaped her or changed her in any way? You mentioned she went on trips with your mother. Do you feel like that those experiences of going out and seeing the world and bringing those things back to you?
No, she just enjoy the moment.
Oh,
She's
okay.
she's always just seizing seizing the moment. She's making the most out of every experience. And yeah, when you're with her, there's never a dull moment.
Hmm.
She's always happy. She's always That's why you would never notice that she's sick
Hmm.
because she's always perking you up. Every one of us. So the last video I have about with her is when my uncle from Australia came home to visit them because they're old.
Mm.
So all of them have white hair. So I'm like, it's so heartwarming to see these siblings in white hair still hugging each other and just enjoying moment together. I never thought that that would be the last for her to be with them. So it's really painful.
Sure.
It's so painful.
But I imagine it's also I guess I imagine it might be a little bit exciting. You get the opportunity now to kind of pay it forward for the life that she has given.
Yes.
To kind of be the example that she was able to be an example for you, be of service to others. And I think there's something that you ingrained in yourself, the sassiness a little bit,
Yeah.
the hard work that you put into place. You obviously yourself has done a lot for your family, coming all the way to America and trying to make the best for you guys in your situation. But I imagine that like when Julia has, grandchildren, right? Or when you have your grandchildren, excuse me.
Yes. I'm
When Julia has
excited.
children, right? And and your other daughters-in-laws as well. I imagine that's going to be a really awesome moment to kind of be able to kind of gain the spirit of
Yes.
Tia, right? And be able to kind of live through that. So, do you kind of feel like this has been, I guess, do you feel like now that now that she is gone, that she has passed, do you kind of feel like this is a opportunity to now kind of really show, hey, the world of like what you have gained from her and like gained from her experience?
So now that she's gone, it would be more vital and important for us to actually live by her examples
Mm.
because that is the best legacy she left with all of us in our hearts and in our lives because she decided to leave those legacy instead of leaving material things with us. She decided to mold our children to be the best versions they could ever be and help us understand how it is to be part of a family,
Mm.
not just a single unit, but always a part of a family. That's how she is. That's how she lived her life. She's not a single unit. She's always just a structure and part of the pillars of the family, of the clan, that losing her really weakened, the totality of the structure. It's really hard to adjust.
I imagine that it must be. I imagine it must be. I don't know. Being so young, I think there's this perspective that we have that everyone there's so much time, right? But I think definitely as you get older, you start realizing that like it's not just about how little time you have or how much time you have. It's all about how full how do you
The quality.
maximize
Yes.
every single day. And it seems like Miss Viv she maximized every
Yes.
single day. She lived to the best of her potential, not just of service of others, but just also just to enjoy the moment of just being alive. And I think that's a big thing. I think she's, from what I've heard, of the thing that she's trying to leave behind. Just
Yes.
enjoy the day, enjoy the people around you,
Right.
right? Focusing so much on the past or focusing so much on the future, it's gonna stress you out.
True.
So instead, Miss Vid, it seems like just be around the people that you love the most. And it seems like the people that she loved most was family, and she didn't want to replace it, even with a lover of her own. She said this was enough,
Yes.
of life that she had. But of course, she's like, "Love, don't you love me more?" Just a little bit. She was a little sassy. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like I think that from what you explained, I think you did a really good job of kind of going in depth of her life in general. But is there any like key moments or final thoughts like of like who she was and how she was and what made her special? Maybe key moments in life, like maybe things she liked to do for fun, or I don't know if she was into sports or shopping or school. I mean, I don't know.
She would shop for all of us.
Oh, okay.
Again, it's not for her, for all of us. So when school would be opening, she would take all the nieces and nephews to the bookstore to buy us the notebooks that we need and everything else, the bags and the shoes. That's how she is.
Wow.
So to define Tia, Tia would always spend quality time with all of us. That's her secret. That's the reason why it's so painful losing her,
Mm-hmm.
because every single moment spent with us is quality time. It's not just, you know, passive.
Sure.
She's always felt.
She you feel
She's
the
always
presence.
felt.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
she's always felt. And the first person you would look for when you come to a gathering,
Sure.
where's Tia? It's always, where's Tia? Is
She
Tia
just
coming?
she had that presence. Yeah.
Yes, it's always Tia. So, yeah, she is selfless. She's giving, and she would give everything without taking back
Is there
or
like a
expecting
it,
anything back.
do you have like a really like cool memorable moment? Maybe a story that you have that interaction with her. I think I heard you mentioning a little bit earlier about like when you were going to the sales job and she was like, "Look, you got this. You can beat all them." Right?
Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
Right? Is there any other kind of cool moments and bonds that you guys had um, that we can archive? Yeah.
So she's always there in every milestone. When I graduated from high school, she was the one who fetched me from our suburbs to bring me to the city to go to school and take my bachelor's there. Christmas, we would always look forward to have her.
Mm.
And she would always introduce games to us that I would laugh my heart out and even pee my pants when I was little, because she's just so funny.
Sure.
So whenever we are with her, it's precious moment. So it's just precious moment. That's why when I was looking at her in the coffin and with her picture there with the date of her death and her birth, it's just, I'm still in denial up to
Mm.
now. I'm still in denial because I just feel like she's got a lot of more she's got a lot more things to do, and she prepared her passport because she's coming over.
Mm.
Her passport is expired, and I've been bugging her, Tia, when are you coming over? Have your passport renewed, and she did. So she's looking forward to coming.
Mm.
So that's why, yeah, all of us are so shocked when she passed.
I think are you still did you get the chance to go back to the Philippines just yet?
No,
No,
in
not yet.
December. We
Okay.
don't have our passports yet
So you're still waiting
because
for them to
we're still
come.
waiting for it. The blue one.
I think I think it's gonna be a really cool special moment that when you guys do get back, and um I think especially being around her things, I think that's gonna really help, especially with like the just the pieces that she not just left behind within you and your soul and you know who you are in spirit, but I think just the things that she has as well.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I
be really
actually asked
helpful.
my sister to give me one of her clothes
Mm.
just for me to, because I also have my grandma's dress with me to remember them by.
Yeah.
But my sister said I never touched her room; it's still intact.
Mm.
So I can imagine when I get home and I look at her room and everything is intact, and she loves these fisherman's hats. When she's planting, she would always wear those, and whatever the color of the sneakers, that's the color of the hat. That's how she is. If I see that, I can imagine myself. I would just I'll just die
Mm.
because it's so. And then when you get to the place, she would be the first to meet you by the gate. I
Mm.
told you, you know how to open the gate, but she would be there to open the gate
Sure.
when
Yeah.
you're coming, because she's very welcoming. So that would never happen when we come for a visit this
Right.
coming December. So it's totally a different scenario, and I don't know how I'm gonna be able to adjust to that fact.
Sure. No, I think
Yeah.
I imagine that it's I imagine stuff like that gets
Yeah.
hard. Um, um, I would like to do something. I don't know if we have a little bit of time, but I know your family's here. But I would like to know if there's any kind of final thoughts before we move on to kind of the final thing I would like to do. Just curious.
Yeah. So the only lesson I've learned from Tia's life is it's good that she's been selflessly loving and giving to everyone, but at least leave something for yourself.
Hmm.
Because loving others is fine, but you also have to love yourself. But there's a saying that you would not be able to love others if you don't love yourself first.
Yeah.
But she was able to.
Yeah.
And she forgot about loving her own self. That's why this happened, because she never took care of herself that much.
Yeah, man, that's so huge. Now, I think it's inspiring from the things I've heard. I think it's inspiring to meet people and not just in like just in life, but even through the kind of stories that you hear of them. That is the important part.
Yeah.
People never forgotten if the stories are continue being told, right? And if we can pass that down to our community, and our community passes that down to their community, and it is 70 years is not gonna be. It's gonna be another 70 more years, and 70 more years, and 70 more years. It's always the messages in the stories that are passed down what keeps people alive.
Yeah.
And especially in the world we're in now, things can spread, which is really cool. It gives just a chance for us to be able to remember the people that made a big difference in our life, whether even in a small town in the Philippines, that one person has influenced now me, you know, and then now we get to influence another person, and those people can now influence others, and that can keep passing down. So I think thanks to you, you have now able to continue her legacy, and you have spread a good positive thing that people can now adapt to. And if you don't mind, we have a ton of glasses here and your family here, and I would like to do a toast. We like to do a What do we have? We have like Martinelli's toast. Can we do a Martinelli's toast? We down for that?
Okay.
Let's do that. Let's bring her over here, do a Martinelli's toast, and then we'll get the camera set. Hey, listen, it don't have to be formal, okay? We goody. All right, you know what I'm saying? You
Just
guys
get cups,
Yeah, we're just going to get some cups, and then we're going to do a little toast. We got a ton of glasses. We got some coffee cups. You know, we'll make it happen. You know what I'm saying? And I got a little opener. Yeah. I got like another 2. You can take one back. And shout outs to you, because this is going to be a 2 toaster today. We're going to do a 2 toaster. Yo, look at that. This is like we're toasting 2 loaves of bread right now. Wait, is it loaves or pieces, right? Yeah, I have a bottle opener on my sling right over there to the right. Do you see that? It's hanging off of it.
Yeah.
Can you get Julie, do you mind grabbing another bottle? There's 2 more bottles in there. Yeah, I don't know if we need she's gonna need to take one home. Yeah, let's get that. Yeah.
No, it's fine.
No, she's gonna take one home. You gotta take one.
Hey, by the way,
No, huh? I know. That's what we're gonna. Yeah, you're gonna do it. Okay. We're all gonna take a seat here. Okay. We're all gonna just get in this picture real quick, and I just have to give a toast to Miss Vid and get that. That's gonna be really dope. Yeah. Hey, get the glass. Pour it up. Let's get it popping. This is non-alcoholic. Okay. But you know it.
It's apple cider.
Hey,
My
wait,
favorite.
not too much. Okay, wait, we gotta get the rest of them. Okay, wait, where are they at? Are they coming in here? We need to get the homies in here. We need to get the homies in here. We gotta get the
Jilly.
We get the whole
Man.
squad, the whole G unit, all up in here. Yes, you didn't expect this, did you? Hey, she gotta take. She got the mask on. We gotta get the mask.
Take off your mask.
Oh, she did it to you. Oh no, she did you dirty. Oh my gosh.
That's my copycat. Look at her.
Yo, she can't say you got
She
a
looks
good
exactly
smile.
like me.
She got a great smile. Look at her. Yeah, man, that's legit.
Okay.
Wait, what? We got no more cups. Oh, I'll take the plastic
Oh,
cup.
here.
I
There's
got the
one
plastic
more
cup.
here. Jules.
No. Drink that one. Drink the water.
She gotta have
I
something,
found
right?
one.
Okay, come in
No,
here.
it's fine. I'll
Just
just
here.
drink the water.
No, it's yours is no. Where's your?
What's up, guys? This is. Someone want to take a seat?
Pops.
Someone gotta take a seat. This is Pops. Pops gotta take a seat.
Here you
We're
go.
gonna stand back here. We're gonna say Chan. All right, couldn't take us. You gotta get in this camera shot. What y'all mean? Y'all
What you
gotta
doing?
sign
Come
the
over
DMs.
here.
Yeah,
In
what
there.
you-
Yes.
We all live over here. Amazon. Okay, wait.
So this one I'll bright up.
Okay.
Let Daddy sit, Jules.
Daddy. Just go ahead.
No, sit, man.
You gotta get see, your camera shot, but it's too late. You're already part of it. Let's go. Someone gotta sit there. Man. You can't let it
Sit.
This is an empty seat. You know, you gotta let it happen. Okay.
Should I turn on light though? Because
Perfect.
we gotta have a little bright kind
Whatever.
of
Yeah, it's
shot.
fine.
Yes,
Let's make it
yes.
happen. So, yeah, I mean, you guys can hear us, right? We just want to say Chan. This is Chan. Okay, wait. What is there like a certain thing you say in Philippines? No?
Come
No.
Hey, that works.
No, it's not Filipino. It's just cheers. It's just cheers.
Cheers. We
Cheers.
have an anniversary today as well. Tomorrow as well.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have
Oh, it's their anniversary too.
No, you guys.
Oh, it's today.
Oh, today.
Oh,
Yes,
it's
I
today.
thought it was today.
I
Yeah.
thought it was tomorrow.
Oh,
It's
snap.
today.
Well, yo, and we're toasting to Lola.
Lola Vid.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. You wanna say the toast? You wanna say it? Who wants to say the toast? Come
Yeah.
on now. To happy
You
marriage.
guys are the happy married.
Man, say it.
You do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just said on my Facebook post that it's been an interesting 28 years of ride with you, man. And I decided to stay on board for as long as it would take with our babies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, shout outs, cheers,
Yes,
Thank
cheers.
you.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thank you for
Yes,
everybody.
that's too. Yay.
You got Lamar Nelly's
Everyone
that was
knows.
hanging right there. Thank you
Sarah,
guys for joining
Julia,
us.
Thank you.
everyone. Yes,
Thank you so
thank
much,
you.
everybody. And thank you, everyone, for joining our show. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for everybody for joining us and learning the story of Miss Lola Vid. And may this be not the ending, to just the beginning of something special. Right? Just the beginning of something pretty cool.
And we hope that we can continue doing this and continue spreading the lives of people who are important to us for the rest of and time to come. So, yeah, shout outs to you guys with love. And thank you for everyone who tuned in. Anyone want to comment, any posts or anything? Are we any crazy? No, we're good to go. Cool. Well, have a good
Thank
night,
you.
guys. Peace.